Yes, name, property address is 5 South State. Property needs water and sewer, and it also, the heater's pretty old and outdated. I have another realtor or another investor that offered me $90,000 for it. You're more than welcome to come and look at it. I'm going to make my decision by June 1st. I also have 3 other investors that have sent me letters interested in property also. Give me a call back.
All right. It's about that time. Thank you so much for downloading today's episode of the Red Pill Investor. My name's John Ashley, a pseudonym of a realtor here in the great state of Arizona, here to help you with your real estate sales skills. Why? Well, just sort of my way to pay it forward for all the people who've given me the tips, the tricks, the things to say to get the contract signed when I needed it the most. Their only request of me, well, just simply pay it forward, and this is my opportunity to you, the listener, in the hopes that one day you'll pay it forward in your way. Thank you so much for downloading today's episode of the Red Pill Investor. I'll do my very best to go ahead and give you some content today that will be of value to you. And what I think we'd like to talk about today in episode 417 are 3 devastating ways to crush your competition. 3 devastating ways to crush your competition. I mean, as you can see by this recording sent to me by one of my executive one-on-one clients, he's got his work cut out for him, all right. But you see, competition in this particular circumstance, I mean, you got competition, there's an offer in play. I mean, and you've got obviously a very motivated prospect. But what do you do when you're faced with a competitive sales environment like this? I mean, how do you stand out? I mean, how do you win without overpaying or play this silly, is that the best you can do game? As you can clearly see, if your only script is that the best you can do, then you're clearly in a world of trouble. In this episode of the Red Pill Investor, I'm going to share with you 3 devastatingly powerful ways to crush your competition. But in order to do this, we have to start by knowing what's important to the seller. And in his message, he mentioned 3 things in particular. First, value. He had this $90,000 offer. Second, he had a decision. He had a decision date by June 1st. And third, that there was competition, that there was 3 other investors that were also potentially interested. So let's approach them one by one, since you know just as well as I do that they're going to come up in the appointment. So write down point number 1, value. Value. You got to understand, in this particular circumstance, where are they getting the values from? It doesn't matter if it's this particular customer or any other. You have to ask yourself, where are they getting this value from? In his case, he's saying it's $90,000. So a good useful way to remember this is if it's an agent that's telling them that, question it. You want to insert doubt into the equation. Things like, did they include XYZ subdivision? The one just around the corner. Did they include those in the comparables? Oh, they didn't. Ooh, okay, that's important. If they get their values from other investors, another investor says they're going to give them XYZ for the house, or in this particular case, they say they've got a $90,000 person in the wings. Confirm it. Ask them if they have a written offer. Many times, agents will, or I shouldn't say agents, I should say wholesalers will, oftentimes go ahead and say they'll make an offer or make a verbal offer, but they don't put it in writing. If it's from Zillow or Trulia or a friend or something like that, well, then you want to question that as well. You want to insert doubt in that. Oh, okay, so nothing scientific. See, one thing is for sure, you don't want to argue or discuss the price in depth over the phone. Why? Well, because people frequently change their opinions in light of new information. See, when you're face to face and you share this new information, many times that's all it takes to go ahead and change their mind. Remember, it's not always about price. Many times it's the security of knowing that it's going to be done. Therefore, if the other person has left an offer, let's say, as the seller purportedly has, we'll ask to see it. Point out things that you would do differently. Maybe you would close faster. Maybe your earnest money would be higher. Maybe your inspection times would be less. Maybe you could turn your earnest money hard and non-refundable at some point after the inspection period. There's a lot of things that you could do if you're only creative enough to know what the contract says. But then, of course, the second thing that the seller mentioned is that they have to make a decision by June 1st. So point number 2, I want you to write down, create urgency. Create urgency through skillful confrontation. Create urgency through skillful confrontation. Listen, you can't make an unmotivated person motivated. Either they want to sell or they don't. And no amount of email follow-up or magic hats or magic bullets or wands popping on the head is going to make an unmotivated person motivated and ready to sell. But if they want to sell, then it's a question of how bad. What happens if it doesn't sell? I mean, whatever it is with this particular person, they're saying, hey world, you know what? I'm no longer a prospect, okay? I am a bona fide lead. I am ready to make a decision. I'm ready to sign now. When you think about it, if they had any kind of motivation at all, however, well, how come they haven't already signed that $90,000 offer? How come they're even talking to us? Many times we think it's because they want the most money possible and they're fishing for offers. But I believe he's not 100% sold out on that buyer. If he was 100% sold out on that buyer, then they would be in escrow. But somehow he feels he can do better if he looks around. Therefore, the only thing that needs to be done is they need to be as sold out on you and your idea. So get sold out on it. Think about it. They're going to sign the contract with the first investor or the first realtor who persuades them that their offer will solve their problem first. Present enthusiastically. Let them know you want to work with them. Don't be on the side playing it cool. However, don't be afraid to skillfully confront the seller. You know what? I appreciate that, Mr. Seller. Tell me, how will you get that? If you do that, how will that get you closer to X, let's say, right? That's one way to to directly confront a seller. I can totally appreciate that, Mr. Seller, by not wanting to sign my contract today and wanting to wait a few extra days to, sign and meet with other people. But let me ask you a question. How does that get you closer to Tuscaloosa, Alabama? That's one way to approach that in a very direct way. But there are others. Okay, Mr. Seller, I understand you want to talk with other people. It makes sense. I see how you may want to look at other offers. I'm curious, could you please explain? Could you please explain? If you use the word "could you please explain" in a lot of different ways, you'd be shocked to see the responses you'll get. Mr. Seller, could you please explain how that will benefit you? Help me understand. Tell me more about that. Help me understand and tell me more. Those three phrases, could you please explain? Tell me more. Help me, right? By making the seller explain things with you assisting them, showing how your offer or your solution will solve it, you help them sell and close themselves. Listen, you must create urgency. Ask what happens if it doesn't sell, and then provide a means to effect the sale. And then, of course, third, that there was others. He mentioned 3 other particular investors who'd been sending him letters. When you hear this, you want to get super excited. Think about it, because most of your competition, they're really that bad, right? Begin massive follow-up. Call them every day until you can personally meet them, right? Be on top of their mind. You'll never, ever, ever aggravate a motivated seller if you ask them the right questions. Ring, ring. Hi, Mr. Seller. Hey, listen, I'm super excited about meeting you Tuesday, but I do have a question. How old is that roof? How old is that furnace? Oh, okay, great. Thanks. I'm really looking forward to seeing you Tuesday. I'll see you then. By the way, did you have any other questions? No? Okay, great. I'll see you then. You call him the next day. Hey, Mr. Seller, I was just running some comparables, getting ready for our meeting on Tuesday, and something occurred to me. Do you have any, dogs nearby? The kind that bite kids? I mean, I want to make sure I'm thoroughly prepared for our meeting on Tuesday. Do you have any other things I need to know about? No? Okay, great. Did you have any questions? Great. I'll look forward to seeing you Tuesday. Next day, you call them back, right? Hey, by the way, I was just getting ready for our appointment, and I noticed, does it have any airplane overfly zones? I mean, whatever it takes, call them every single day that you can. Stay at the top of their mind. Position yourself as the last person that they interview. If they're going to meet 3 other people, say, great. Oh, man, I am so excited to meet you. And I know that competition brings out the best in everybody. What I'd like to do, I'd like to show up last. Who's going to be your last person? Find out who they are, if possible, and then be there last. Let's say that your appointment is Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and the last appointment is Tuesday at 3 with your competitor. You want to position yourself as the last person that they interview, as if possible. Don't let it be a deal breaker. Okay. And the reason why is because it eliminates the possibility of putting off a decision because they're waiting to hear what somebody else might say. If you're showing up on Sunday and they're seeing somebody else on Tuesday and you make an offer, they can always say, well, we'll get back to you because we have to meet with this other person on Tuesday. But if you're the last person, that eliminates that one objection. Plus, it sets you up for what I call the boom headshot technique. Now, if you were in my executive one-on-one coaching or in my mentoring program, you would hear about the boom headshot technique. And basically what it is positioning yourself in a competitive environment where you're the last person there. Let's say that in this previous example, the competitor's showing up at 3 o'clock. It's your wholesaler in your area. That, man, they're good, and it's kind of tough. You're not so sure if you're going to get it or not. But you position yourself strategically at 4 o'clock. That way you got that tactical advantage. You followed up throughout the week. You followed up with the seller. You say, man, I'm so excited to meet with you on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. I can't wait. And they say, great, finally, we'll look forward to seeing you Tuesday at 4. Well, guess what? You show up at 3:30. Show up 30 minutes prior to your scheduled appointment. Knock on the door. Hi, Mr. Seller. yeah, I was in the neighborhood. I was just running some comps, looking to look at some of the comparables in the area. I was a little bit early. I can't imagine that other guy's still here. I mean, he's not still talking after 30 minutes, is he? And well, yeah, as a matter of fact, he is. Oh, well, tell you what, if it's okay with you, I don't mind. Why don't I just take a quick look around the house while you guys are finishing up in the kitchen, and I'll just, go in the backyard. I'll stay out of the way because I'm sure, he probably wants to finish telling you whatever he'd like to tell you. And then I'll come in and we'll be, 15, 20 minutes, we'll be done. Fair enough? 9 times out of 10, they will let you in the home. If they let you in the home, game over. Boom. Headshot. There is no way that contract is getting signed for that competitor while you're there. It's certainly not going to be signed while you're in the house, and it certainly won't be signed while you're in the backyard. Why? Because, after all, we need to hear what he has to say. And of course, in the mind of that competitor, they're completely blown. They've got nothing else to say when you're already there. It throws them off their game. Don't believe me? Think about it. What if you were on a presentation at 3 o'clock and your worst fear, your competitor in your area, shows up at 3:30, a half an hour early? Honest mistake. I didn't realize they were still here. Could you imagine how powerful or unpowerful, disempowered your mindset would be? Boom. Headshot. Listen, if you walk away, the only no that ever counts is the last one before you quit. Think about it. In order to efficiently handle a competitive sales situation, you must be able to skillfully confront the seller, not only on price, but timing. You have to ask for proof if they have an offer. You've got to ask questions and confront the seller's ideas about the time it takes in the market, as well as their confidence in the other person's ability to perform in time. You eliminate competition by giving the prospect only the answers to the questions that they want answered. Demonstrate them your superior service. Upgrade everything you do. And as you know, a majority of the sales that you win or lose are always on the little things. You have a powerful sales day. Bye-bye.